Hubbell today. I'm Beth Wessel, state representative from Iowa House District 45. For those of you who don't know me, oh, I'm not talking loud enough, Lynn says. All right, so a little bit louder. Again, I'm Beth Wessel. I'm the state representative from Iowa House District 45, which is kind of the south outside of the U shape of Ames, and a little bit. I have Milford, Grant, and Washington Townships, which includes Kelly. So I am so pleased to be here to introduce Fred today. I endorsed him a few months ago, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about how I came to that decision. Fred did a listening tour before he announced, and I never met him before. Of course, I've known the name Fred Hubbell, but I've never met him before, and he stopped in Ames, and we had a really, really nice visit. We talked about a lot of issues. I still didn't get into a lot of his background on a lot of those issues, but he was definitely listening to what my concerns were, and that's a really important part of a leader in my estimation. So before he announced, he's out listening to find out what other people in the state are concerned about and what our issues are. And as I got to know more and more about his background, I'm of course thrilled with his leadership in women's reproductive rights, in environmental protection, and in mental health, which, you know, if there's something our state needs help with right now, it's mental health. And Fred has been involved in the mental health issue for a long, long time. One of the things, I'm using other people's words, but if you got a problem and you want to get it solved, we've heard Fred's the guy to go to. He's genuine, he's real, he's a people leader, and therefore I'm endorsing him, and I hope you will welcome him to Ames.
Well, thank you all very much. For those of you who came for our event, those of you who happen to be here thank you all for being here. Giving us the opportunity to have a little conversation. I'd like to start by introducing former state legislator Ralph Rosenberg over there.
Thanks, Fred.
And there's this gentleman over here that everybody needs to know because he's taking care of all of it. That's Sheriff Paul Fitzgerald here. County Sheriff, who's also supporting our campaign. He's one of 8 sheriffs who are supporting a Democrat for governor. I think that's kind of unusual. Again, thank you all very much for taking time out of a beautiful day out there today. I'm just so excited not to have to wear a big heavy coat today. So, I'm a lifelong progressive Democrat. I'm going to talk for a few minutes, and then we're going to take a few questions, and then our buddy Zach over here likes to talk about the caucuses with all of us, and that's coming up, and it's very important. And I'll be around to answer individual questions for a few minutes. But as a lifelong progressive Democrat, I don't want to just stand around any longer watching a state that I think all of us love. Because we all have choices. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love Iowa. And watch the governor with their fiscal mismanagement and the Republican legislature with their misguided priorities take our state down, just into the ground, right towards Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Or take your pick, Wisconsin. Either one's a bad solution. So, you know, we've defunded Planned Parenthood, as Beth referred to, underfunded education. We've done literally nothing for mental health and substance abuse in our state. Privatization of Medicaid is a disaster. We stripped a lot of collective bargaining rights from a lot of people in this room who work for the state and our teachers. And at the same time, we've continued to allow a lot of wasteful corporate giveaways that frankly we should not be continuing to fund. And that's the money we can move over to fund the things we need to fund. I think that, as Beth described, with the background I've had and the experiences I've had, I have the right kind of experience and leadership skills to actually turn this state around, to get it going back in the right direction, to benefit all Iowans, as well as all of our kids and grandkids. And that's what we need to be concerned about. We started this campaign back in the middle of May. That's why my throat's so sore. But in the middle of May, I traveled all across this state. And the good news is, we've been to a lot of homes, a lot of coffee shops, a lot of businesses. We've been on farms. listening to people like you, as Beth said, and learning from you. And because of that time that we spent out there, and that energy we spent listening and learning and trying to put a message together, we actually now have over 50 different current or former legislators like Beth and like Ralph that are supporting our campaign, which for me is pretty surprising. As somebody who's never been a candidate, to have current and former elected officials supporting our campaign is very humbling. And I feel very proud about that, but I also feel a lot of responsibility to make sure they make the right choice. At the same time, we're leading in the polls that come out so far for Democrats. So we've got a lot of momentum. The important part is going out and visiting with people. Because that's really where you find out what's going on in our state. All across Iowa, not just in Ames, Des Moines, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, everywhere. We were in Northwest Iowa last week. We were 2 days, 10 different stops. We were in Southeast Iowa, Northeast Iowa. We were 4 days prior to this. 16 different stops. We're getting all across this state, being in places just like this, and listening to people talk about these caucuses and this stuff. So some of the things I've been hearing, I just want to share with you. Talking about Fort Dodge first. I keep hearing every time I'm up in that kind of all part of the state, that a lot of teachers are now moving to Minnesota to go teach up there. They still have collective bargaining, and they get paid more, and they get respect. And you can't blame them. We're basically pushing some of our best and brightest teachers to go out of state to teach. At the same time, in University of Northern Iowa, I'm sure it's exactly the same here, a lot of young people are working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay tuition. And now we're talking about 30–40% increases in tuition in the next 4 or 5 years. Well, it's not the region's fault, folks. It's the governor and legislature's inability to manage the budget properly. So they're not giving the regions any money to work with. We're making college unaffordable for a large segment of our population. It's not right. At the same time, Fort Dodge, Gentleman Fort Dodge, told us about no new investments in Fort Dodge in infrastructure, hardly any investments in job training, and flat incomes for the last 5 to 6 years. You can't blame this person. He says, look, nobody cares about rural Iowa anymore. Nothing's being done for rural Iowa. Well, we Democrats have an opportunity to let folks all over the state know that we care about rural Iowa just as much as we care about Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, or Ames, or Iowa City. And we want to make investments there. At the same time, privatization of Medicaid is causing a lot of harm all across our state for individuals as well as providers. Mental health from Dubuque to Sioux City, as Beth said, that's the thing that comes up most often everywhere we go. The mental health crisis and substance abuse problems that are growing in our state. We really need to go to work on that. These kind of things are hurting people all over our state, not just in this room, but the entire state. So what am I going to do about these issues? Well, it starts with values. And my first value actually is experience. Because I think, with the severity of the problems we have with the fiscal situation in our state and $144 million borrowed money that she's not willing to pay back yet, and misguided priorities, we need a governor who's got some experience working with people. When I ran the Yonkers department store business in 1980, we had 5,000 employees all across this state. You learn pretty quickly when you have 26 locations and all those employees that your business may be headquartered in Des Moines, but it's only as good as every single person working in each one of those stores all across Iowa and 4 other states. And if you don't support them, you don't give them the training, education, reward opportunities, motivation that they need to be successful, your business won't succeed. But we have that same issue right now in our state, because we're not giving people in our state those things. I also worked for state government twice. Governor Culver asked me to chair the Iowa Power Fund Board for 4 years. We made renewable energy, renewable fuel investments all over the state. At the same time, in the middle of that, he asked me to run the Iowa Department of Economic Development. There's been a film tax credit scandal in 2009. It's costing the state literally hundreds of millions of dollars. He had to fire the executive director, asked me to go in and work in the Attorney General's office and clean that mess up, and we did. Saved the state a lot of money. So that's the kind of experience we need. We got a big mess right now, and we need someone who's got the experience to fix it and put the priorities back in the right spot. So that leads me to my second core value, which is what I call unity. having never been a politician, never been a candidate for office, what I focus on, whether it's on a nonprofit activity or a business activity or working in our community, is trying to find common ground with people to get things done. I don't care if a good idea comes from a Republican or a Democrat or anybody else. If it's a good idea, it's going to help our state, we should support it. And we need to work together to find those good ideas. Rather than focusing on what divides us first, let's focus on what unites us and make progress there. Which leads me to my third value, which is putting people first. It's what I learned at Yonkers. It was a long lesson, but I've never forgotten it. That was in the 1980s. You know, if we give people the education, the training, the respect, the collective bargaining rights, and the support that they need to be successful, then they're going to make our state successful. But if we keep taking those things away, like Governor Reynolds and the Republicans are, that's going to make it very difficult for our state and us as individuals and our communities to be successful. So you have to do that by putting a budget behind the priorities. I don't know if any of you have looked at Governor Reynolds' budget this year, but it's more of the same from the last 2 years. Reduced funding for the regions, reduced funding for community colleges, not much for job training, not much for health care.